Welcome back to News Geelong. To start off our sports segment tonight, we head to the world of racing with News Geelong's very own John Dunn.
Big day's racing here on the synthetic last Friday afternoon, and in the opening event, the David Hayes trained filly, That's My Name. Well, she's always found one better than her in the past, not so here on Friday. She deserved to win a race, and she trounced her rivals in the process.
That's My Name, scorched clear down by the 250. She's 5 in front. Wide out Chocolate running on with Sudden As Scent still there from Super Daff. But That's My Name. She's going to be standing up and counted today. That's My Name right on the job, roaring away the last 20 metres and is going to fair dinkum slash them. Won by 7 lengths.
Leading jockey Michael Rodd is keyed up to ride the superstar It's a Done Deal in Sydney on the weekend. But it was business as usual here at Geelong last Friday afternoon when Michael Rodd teamed up with the Kavanagh-trained Drumrai Palace and promptly won his first race.
Jamira Palace hits the front from Warfid getting through, an Oceanographer chiming in, and Lucky Edges storming down the outside. Jamira Palace hits the front from Warfid. Oceanographer's taking a month of Sundays, but it's Jamira Palace in front of Warfid and Oceanographer. Jamira Palace kept going by Rod, and the son of Zabil's going to win it by a length.
Local galloper Masale is generally regarded as a middle distance type of horse, but he blew quaddie punters right out of the water when he won over 1,300 metres at $41 and gave Jamie Edwards a good tonic as he makes good recovery from the serious injuries he suffered in a track fall accident here 2 months ago.
Saley, the bolter, hits the lead and runs for home now. Drew clear from Dash a Lot. Porto Flamenco trying to wind up from Buster McGee. Masale in front from Dash a Lot, running on Porto Flamenco, but little Masale in front. Here's an upset to the first leg of the quaddie. Masale goes on and wins by 2 lengths.
Banker on 9 usually races best when he's let a bowl along on the pace. Well, he got his wish here last Friday. He did just that, and he found plenty when challenged in the straight, held off his rivals and took out the final event.
Shivers on the scene 3 wide. Kimizinko right down the outside with Are You Serious? Banker on 9 kick. Combi M got off the rail at Inio Lodge. Banker on 9 clear from Combi N, who's trying desperately and running on also to Cry 4. Banker on 9 in front. It's clinging on to Cry 4 lunges, but Banker on 9.
And that's the wrap up of racing here last Friday afternoon on the synthetic. All again on next Friday afternoon again. Back to you in the studio, Alex. And do you think you'll be lining up for Newtown against Leopold tomorrow?
Thanks for that, JD. I'll hope to be on the park in the next couple of weeks. But before that, News Geelong caught up with Chris Scott following Geelong's 4th consecutive win.
I guess we can start with the good news. Why not, George? It's a great nod for him, isn't it? He's had to wait his turn, but he's done one.
Yeah, he has. He's done a relatively long apprenticeship in our system, albeit George is a pretty new player to AFL football, really. He was a talented junior cricketer and didn't really concentrate on footy until the year before he was drafted. So he's still got a lot to learn, but he was a fantastic acquisition for us and really helped us in the contest and the stoppages last week against Sydney. So he's had to bide his time a little bit, but he's come in and been able to help us straight away, which is positive.
Do you think he'll make that big impact on Friday night?
Oh, we weren't surprised, but we certainly didn't have an expectation that he'd be as good as he was. But he's shown in the games he has played and the way he's trained in our system that he had the potential to perform that way. So he played round 1. He forced his way into the best 22 that we could put on the field for the first game, and he's not going to be displaced this week, that's for sure. So I think it's still early stages, but the signs are really good.
There's not many sadder stories in footy than such a young player getting a 4th knee recode. Just how did you take it, and how sad is it?
Oh, without wanting to exaggerate, I think it was the hardest I've ever had in footy. It's devastating for all of us, and right at the moment, we as a football club are all for one, and we will. It's really hard to comment on what's going to happen from here because we've got to do all the investigations required and sit down with Dan and go through the pros and cons of every option. But the one thing we can be unequivocal on is that we are committed to him, as long as it takes.
What do you say to a guy in that situation when you sit down and have a chat? How do you really start trying to talk to him about it?
I don't know. I can't remember how I did it. We haven't spoken at length because it's difficult. There's not much to say. We effectively you just look at each other and are lost for words to an extent. But again, we're unequivocal publicly, and we have been privately as well. We will stand by Dan with everything we've got.
Has he made up his mind yet?
No, we need to take our time to get all the information, and it would be wrong of me to speak publicly about the options before he's listened to all of those and made an informed decision. But I don't think it'll be long before we do. We're talking days, not weeks.
You've looked at some fairly out-of-the-box solutions for people in the past. Are all those kinds of options on the table where Dan's concerned? And do you think you may have to look at some of them in order to kind of overcome this series of setbacks for you?
Yeah, we need to explore everything possible within the rules. And you're right, the club's got a history of searching far and wide for remedies for players, and we'll do that with Dan. Whatever we need to do to show our commitment to him, we will do.
Is it much about the mental support this time as much as the physical support?
It's part of it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to face a long rehabilitation. We need to make sure that we do support him in every way possible, and his mental approach to it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be incredibly important in his recovery. So, yeah, I can't emphasise enough. We will support him in every way we possibly can.
Having had a bit of a knock on you so far for your contested work, especially guys like George with 15 contested possessions, Cell with those type of guys. How important was that for you?
Yeah, I think it was a step forward. I mean, we really value balance in all the aspects of the game, and that was an area of our game that was slightly out of balance. And certainly George and Joel, were responsible for the lion's share of that work inside, so we need to spread that a little bit further. And it is a really good test against the Bulldogs. We see every game that we play as an opportunity to improve. And that's an area where the Bulldogs will really test us. So last week was a step forward, and we hope we can take another step forward this week.
How much improvement has Joel Selwyn got there?
I think we were pretty universal in thinking it was the best game that we've seen him play. But he keeps improving, and he's 24, and he would be offended if I said he'd reached his peak already. He's improving as a leader off the field every day, it seems, and he's still making improvements on the field, which is exciting for all of us.
You've had the luxury of an 8-day break as opposed to all those 6-day breaks. Is it a luxury at the moment to have that extra couple of days compared to what you've had previously in the first few weeks?
Yeah, it's preferable, but we don't really think of it in terms of week to week. We've put a long-term plan in place to make sure we got through that first month in good shape, and then this is kind of the next phase of that plan. So it's preferable having an 8-day break over a 6-day break, but I think I've been pretty clear that the length of time you have to recover is more insignificant than people give it credit for.
Another positive this week, Nathan Barton as well. He's back, yeah?
Yeah, really exciting to get Vards back. He's, he needs to get some football under his belt. We're not going to rush him back at all. In fact, he could have played the last couple of weeks, but we decided to, be ultra conservative with him, and we'll continue that through the next few weeks with his VFL program. I expect it's going to be difficult because he'll play well at VFL level, but we will resist the temptation to get him back into the AFL system because we'd rather be safe than sorry. And it might be, some of the feedback we're getting is that it's just too conservative. But if that's a mistake we make, then I can live with that.
James Kelly.
Yeah, he should be right. Yeah, he should be right. It was quite an innocuous issue with his ankle, sort of Achilles area. We didn't think he'd miss at all, and now he's missed 2. So that's more a reflection of our conservatism than the seriousness of that injury. So we'd be staggered if he didn't play this week.
Josh hasn't done enough at VFL level, or has he got one more down there?
Oh no, he's got some more footy at VFL level. Yeah, he played very well on the weekend. He was clearly one of the best players on the ground, but he's coming off a very limited preparation, and Josh is going to be important for us certainly in the last half of the season. So similarly to our younger players, we're going to make sure that he's well and truly ready to play his best before he steps up to AFL level.
How close Hamish McIntosh?
I'm not exactly sure, but not this week or next week, I wouldn't have thought. Again, probably more like Vardy in that we'll be conservative with him and make sure he's absolutely right to play his best, because we know he's got a big role to play if he can get healthy.
You're thinking ahead to the glut of big man stocks that you'll eventually have, and it's probably only 2 or 3 weeks away. And the development of the guys that you've got at the moment is going to be a headache for you in a not too distant future.
Yeah, nice headache though. Dawson Simpson's the other one that's not too far away from playing, so we'd love to have Simpson, Vardy, McIntosh available. Walker will play this week as well. So we're slowly getting those guys back into the system, and we very much see those guys as a unit that work together. We certainly won't be deciding on our best 2 and sticking with them every single week. So I probably wouldn't refer to it as a headache. I think it's healthy for our group that we're starting to get some of those key players back into our system.
There's an article in The Age today saying that the Sunday is going to be probing your football club as well as North Melbourne and Gold Coast. Did you know about that, or you did?
Oh, yeah, well, Deloitte's have already been to the club because there was a former employee of the club that's involved in the situation at Essendon. That's my understanding of the matter, but as we've said a few times, we're very confident in our processes, and we'll open up our club to any scrutiny that ASADA or the AFL or anyone else wants to put upon us.
Thanks for that, Chris. And for those AFL fans, stay with us, because we'll catch up with George Holland-Smith later in the show. We now head to a break, but don't forget you can watch all these episodes, broadcasts and more on our YouTube channel.